Do you have an issue with profiling prospects to know if they are a fit to do business with you? When you profile prospects, the issue is not if you're good enough to do business with them. The issue is, are they good enough to do business with you? This must be the thinking and the psychology of a salesperson. And when you profile, we're going to be looking at three things. Number one, you're going to be trying to determine their financial capacity. You're going to be trying to determine their urgency and their decision-making process. The acronym is FOOD, F-U-D, financial capacity, urgency, and decision-making process. In a previous video, I talked about how to determine financial capacity. However, in today's video, I'm going to show you a few questions you can ask to determine or find who the decision makers are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember that selling is not talking. Selling is asking questions. In sales, the more questions you ask, the more sales you're likely to make. When we have our training programs, now we've done trainings across several countries, including Nigeria, Ghana, USA, Rwanda. We have clients across several countries. And I wonder how I learned this. In fact, I learned this, when I was working in the industry, I was top selling salesperson. I was sent for the World Cup and all experience pay trip. Moved to an organization where I doubled my portfolio by over 100% in just 11 months. And having practiced this and done well in sales, I discovered a specific and unique way to profile prospects. Now, I also realized that when we go for training programs and I talk to people and I ask them, I say, sell to me. The next thing a salesperson most times is trying to do is trying to explain to me what the product is about. Now, explaining to a prospect what the product is about is not what makes the prospect buy. But it just makes sense truly that if I just explain to you and tell you what this thing is about, maybe you like it and you decide to go ahead. But that's not what convinces people. Marketing and selling are not the same thing. The whole process of creating awareness and giving information about what you do is more of marketing. But you see, marketing and sales need to come together for a sale to happen. For the sale to happen, you must ask questions. In your organization, marketing probably has already done some work, maybe creating some awareness, done some ads. You're now hired as a salesperson. You're expected to go out there and do the selling directly. Leave marketing alone. No need to talk about your products. Focus on the problem of the prospect. Spend more time talking about the problem of the prospect than you do talking about your solution. The moment you spend more time talking about the solution than you do talking about the problem of your prospect, your sales process will be weak and it will affect how well you can close. So dwell on the prospect's problems. Now, see, as you're going out for sales meetings today, going out for prospecting today, think about it. Anybody you meet right now, today, explain or ask questions. Spend more time understanding what the real issues are and what their needs are. Somebody says, but the person didn't talk to me about the need. The person didn't walk up to me. I'm the one that went to meet the person. Then ask for permission to ask questions. Ask for permission to ask questions. Selling is asking questions. Now, you cannot walk up to somebody and say, what's your name? Is this your car? Where do you work? That may be rude. For you to do that, there must be at least some level of credibility. For example, I look at the school of, there's a guy on Instagram. He walks around to reach people to ask them questions about what they do and how they make their wealth. When he meets them, he starts with a question. Powerful. He says, hello, sir, is this your car? What did you do to be able to afford this kind of car? Now, the reason why, you see, he's asking, is this your car? He's starting that way without asking for permission to ask questions. But you see, one of the things but for him, he's doing that as a hook to get their attention. And sometimes when he notices that they are awkward, they feel like, I'm asking if this is my car. He now says, I have 21 million followers on social media. I go around, I've interviewed 32 billionaires. I go around the world talking about how people get rich and all those kind of things. He then introduces himself to establish credibility. So the point is, before you start a sales conversation, ask for permission to ask questions. Oh, Mr. Prospect, thank you so much for your time. My name is, I hope you don't mind, can I ask you a few questions? These are questions I'd like to ask most of our clients. Just 3 to 4 questions so I can be of help to you. Or, good afternoon. My name is, hope you don't mind, can I ask you a few questions? Our organization, we are the top XYZ in the country. We are the first and the most. Get the person's attention. The person says, okay, if that's the case, all right, let me hear your questions. Remember to mention to the prospect that these are questions we like to ask most of our clients. So that keeps them calm. That makes them understand that, see, I'm not trying to ask you a unique question here. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. We already have a routine we follow. And based on bandwagon effects, people would feel, you know what, if you've been asking people these questions, let me go ahead and listen to you. Now, when you started asking your questions, the first question you want to probably ask to make the person feel calm enough to listen to you is an open-ended question, a general question. A sales process moves the prospect from general questions to specific questions. So move from start a general question. Also, how's work? How's business? I've realized that for a lot of people, the economy right now seems to be bouncing back and business seems to be picking very quickly. Can you tell me what kind of industry you're in and how well you've been able to, you look really good, but how well you've been able to transform and get your businesses to thrive and move at this pace? What are you doing? You're asking an open-ended question, a question that the person can't just say yes or no. The longer the question, the longer the answer. The shorter the question, the shorter the answer. You give a long question, therefore, naturally, a long answer will be produced. And that way, you just take charge of the conversation. Now, as you ask your questions, you listen with rapt attention. The sale takes place in the listening, not in the talking. You see, selling is asking questions, but the purpose of asking questions is so you can listen, because listening builds trust, and listening gives you influence. So when you're meeting with a prospect and engaging a prospect, and you're listening with rapt attention, now I know that there are salespeople who, when they're engaging a prospect, while the prospect is talking, you can tell that they're not listening. They're waiting, eager to ask the next question, and they're missing information. In fact, I call it currency that's coming to them. Currency is flowing to them, but they're missing it because they're not paying attention. So when you listen, you can now follow up with the right questions. Okay, sir, so when it comes to making investment decisions, or when it comes to purchases like XYZ, can you walk me through how you structure you structured your decision making process, or you structured your life in such a way that you ensure that you make the right decisions? Do you engage the spouse? Do you engage with, you see? Oh, Mr. Prospect, if we were to walk you through something right now that you really love, is there anybody else you'd have loved to hear this thing, which would help you make sure that you're making the right decision? So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to ask you questions to know who all the decision makers are. Oh, Mr. Prospect, the last time you made a purchase like this, can you walk me through how you walked about choosing your vendor? Can you walk me through how you went about step by step those who were involved? I want to know the decision making process. So ask questions. Ask questions so that you can know those who should be involved in this conversation that are not yet involved. And if you discover that this prospect has somebody else he would love to talk to, or he would have loved to be a part of this conversation, you can now give him some information about the product, not all the information, then possibly immediately move into getting an appointment with the other party who should be in this meeting. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. If you haven't subscribe here. If you haven't liked this video, you can watch the next video here. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'll talk to you soon.